Welcome, welcome to God Chat. My husband is not talking, he's muted.
What do you think
So,
of your new cable?
it's very fancy actually.
It's got that cloth exterior.
Yes, it looks like a snake, kind of like a snake. Just saying.
So, for starters, welcome to God Chat. I'm Chris. This is Diana. And
Hello.
every Monday night, except for last Monday night, which we had to skip, we do a little impromptu chat. The idea is not to preach, teach, or even, shame or all that stuff. We're just two believers sitting here talking about God. And you are welcome to join us. We'll open up the StreamYards in a few minutes and see how that goes. But tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about Christian comics versus Christian creators making comics.
I like that topic.
Well, it's a topic tonight because we kind of came face to face with that recently. We created a book called Cluster Fudge. It's an
Mhm.
adult, mature book, and I think it took some people by surprise.
It definitely did.
And I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit because one of the things I heard was it was unbelievable that a conservative Christian could make something like this.
Right.
And I understand where the comment comes from,
Hmm.
but I don't necessarily agree with it because I think somewhere along the line we got used to Christians behaving in a very Christian way. And the truth is, when you're creating something, especially when it's in entertainment,
Hmm.
there can be a payoff
Hmm.
in not writing the same old Christian tropey type of show,
Hmm.
which ends up being predictable and
Yeah.
very, you know what I mean? It's just
Right.
very, for lack of a better term, some might call it Christianese. Um,
Right. Right.
in my stuff, I never directly do the whole Veggie Tales or David and Goliath or any of that kind of stuff. I don't know if you remember David and Goliath, the stop motion show.
I do.
Yeah. Um,
I used to like that show, by the way.
well, yeah, it was a great show.
Hmm.
They
Sorry.
used to come on Sunday mornings before church,
Yeah.
and everybody would kind of catch a. I don't know. We used to get like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't remember if they were a half hour or if they were like little. I think they were like little 10 or 20 minute episodes,
Right.
and they would run them consecutively, and yeah,
Hmm.
it was fun.
It was fun.
Um, but on the other hand,
Hmm.
most of my books are, I would say, family friendly, although they do border the PG-13 line that some people talk about.
Yes.
However, Cluster Fudge was firmly in the MA, mature audience only.
I like how you put that firmly in the MA.
Yeah, like there's no doubt.
Mhm.
Like I actually know of one kid who asked me what it was because I guess he saw one of the ads,
Yeah.
and I said it's not for you. It's not for kids. No, no,
Right.
no, no.
Right.
The weird thing is, in my efforts to tell a good story,
Hmm.
uh, issue 2, which isn't out yet, that lifts people up, wasn't there when they read issue 1. So some people were surprised at just how uh, dark and depressive the book was throughout the whole thing. And
Right.
there are points made there that are going to be, I don't want to say exposed, but things will make more
They will
sense.
be explained. I think
Right, right.
you're going to give I think, an explanation where it's going to make things uh,
At
make
least
it
more
more.
rational.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's a misnomer for people to assume, well, if he's Christian, he's going to make Christian books.
Right. Well.
Um, it doesn't mean I won't ever, but it doesn't mean that everything I do is going to be tied to a Christian theology.
Right. Because in the comic that you did, there definitely was God in there. You
Oh
know.
yeah, but people miss it because there was so much. Just for those who haven't read it, the story pretty much goes: man who's considered superhero by country is actually a dirtbag and has
Hmm.
been for decades. And in the end, he's seeking death but can't kill himself because of his powers. His powers prevent him from dying, basically.
Right.
But in the end, he ends up sacrificing his life for that of a little child. Um, and though it's not entirely clear what's going on and it doesn't leave you with a feel-good feeling, issue 2 is going to take care of that part. And then it'll actually be one volume. My mistake, and I stand by this wholly, and I've learned a lesson here, is I should have put it out as one large graphic novel instead of trying to divide it into 2 issues.
Right.
That was the dumb thing about it. With that said, lesson learned. And once people get the whole thing in their hands, I think it'll make a lot more sense and be not less shocking, but less, it was called the darkest comic ever reviewed on Well Read Comics. That's pretty. To me, that's a big deal because they review a lot of dark comics. They review a lot of comics,
right?
And so, I took that when they said that, and I was like, I wanted to make something, rated R-ish, kind of grime and gritty, really make you not like the character in the story, but I didn't mean to do that, like to cause that much response, that kind of response, that kind of reaction. So, in the end, God is good. I prayed about it, and as is often the case, I have to say to God, forgive me if I did something wrong, because I'm really not sure what that would be at this point. And, show me, educate me, Father, It's an important thing.
Absolutely.
But I also think it's important that particularly Christians who follow us and are supportive of the books, I think it's important that you understand I don't want to get into a position where I really can't be used by God because I'm stereocasted as, one of the Christian guys.
Right.
Whether people realize this or not, when you make Christian books and you're and I'm not saying you shouldn't be loud and proud, but when you go down that genre, you do get excluded from the general audience that is available out there. I would much rather, plant seeds in a very creative manner than just come out and, so here's the story of Joe who found the Lord, and this is how we did it. And, there's a place for that, but there's already enough of that I don't really feel that area of the genre of the comic book genre really has any room to grow in. Like, I think it's pretty much, what Christians look for in comics is pretty much being covered, between, smaller guys like Cross Comics and Tribulation Force. And I'm sure there are more that I'm not even aware of, but the first 2 that come to mind, there are Christian comics out there already. And we can tell you by looking at the market that a lot of regular comic book readers don't even look at them just because they know it's a Christian comic. And they're like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Right.
Heck, most Christians don't want anything to do with it. That's why they're not bestsellers. If Christians really supported comic books made by Christian creators, they would sell hundreds of thousands of books every month.
That's true, honey.
There's so many Christians in the world and in the country that, it should be a huge hit. But comic books are not in the place that they were 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. They have shrunk in a market of, electronic entertainment. And it'll surge back and shrink back and surge back over the next, 100 years. I don't believe comics are ever truly going to go anywhere. It's just they're going to become more niche until there's, some big blowout hit, and then they'll go through a resurge, and then they'll shrink a little, and then they'll
That's
resurge.
True. Well, that's like most things, when you think about it.
It is.
And what goes around comes around usually. So
but the problem is, if you're going to do a book so dedicated on Christianity, then you are making yourself into a niche market, and that's not the worst thing to do, but it's It's kind of like the opposite of, say, a soft porn comic book.
Right.
There's only so many people are going to go look at the soft porn comic because they know what's in it just by hearing soft porn.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar when you hear, oh, it's a Christian comic.
Right.
People will very quickly turn around and go, well, it looks pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that we all need to learn from that,
Mm-hmm. Well, don't judge a book by its cover, really, until you really, know what you're reading, and like they assume because you believe in Jesus, and some of the things you must have said on social media that you are considered a conservative Christian, but I don't know if that's necessarily true about you.
Well, something I got to say about that, though, that blows
Mm-hmm.
my mind is I guess I really must project that, but I don't really understand that I've done it. You know what I mean? Um, in other words, I'm always surprised when someone calls me a conservative Christian or a religious guy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't wear it on my sleeve like I used to, and
Right.
yet everybody still is aware of it, and that's a blessing, but it's also a surprise.
Right. Right. No, I agree. You know. Um.
I'm pasting a reminder that we're live on Facebook. For
Okay.
those who don't know, if you're watching in rerun, I can see the amount of views we're getting,
Mm-hmm.
and we really aren't getting any, so we might cut it short.
Yeah.
We've only been on for 11 minutes, but
Chris, you're so funny. Oh
we had
no.
like 2 viewers and then they disappeared,
Right.
and that's okay too. It might not be our night for God chat. I don't know.
That's okay.
Oh, what was that?
That would be the cat who's rubbing up against the microphone. Get away. I'm so sorry.
I don't
think
know
she
why
was,
you let her up there.
well, she jumped up and she knocked it over. I didn't let her. She just does it and I shush her down. So I apologize for that large
You
thing.
should use a samurai punch and knock her out of the air when she jumps.
You're funny.
You don't like the samurai jump idea?
I don't think that would be good. No, not at
All right,
all.
so let's just test this. I'm gonna put the StreamYard link in the chat, but I'm confident nobody's there. I'm just gonna do it anyways, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we come
I
up
don't
with
think
it.
we have any viewers on the Facebook page.
We're not on Facebook.
Oh,
We are running on
Only-
YouTube tonight, and there's a link for them to click to go.
yeah,
But they do have to click the link.
right.
And I did that just to see what would happen.
Mhm.
So
I
far, it's
gotcha.
dead. So far, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not happening.
No, but
It could be worse.
it could be worse. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Could be an
Um,
early night, baby. I could do lots of drawing. But yeah, so why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're thinking?
Mhm.
We are at a point now where we're doing our comics, we're working full time.
Yeah,
We still haven't found a church, but let's be honest, we're not really looking for a church. We have a place
this
in
is
Connecticut that we
true.
love and sort of belong to, but not in a
Right.
capacity like a weekly Sunday church.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling spiritually?
Good. As a matter of fact, I feel wonderful. God is good always, and I talk with Him every single day, pretty much throughout the day,
Amen.
and He just gives me a lot of peace, and I don't know, gives me
you really have to
direction.
lean on Him these days.
Yeah, I do. You know what I mean?
In the world,
Mm-hmm.
it's so bad right now. Like under the guise of peace, acceptance, and compassion,
Mm-hmm.
the world is being told to accept the sinful natures that God said not to accept.
Right.
And it's really a conflict. And it's going to be something crazy, I suppose, if in 500 years they somehow figure out that God was a figment of imagination or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that for a minute. I think God's watching this, and and it's all according to his plan, and something's going to come down one way or another.
Right.
Um, it's just a matter of time, and yet I watch all these people who, they're how do I put this? Because religiously we're told nobody but God is good, and I believe that. But I watch people who are good people
Mm-hmm.
endorsing and supporting things that aren't godly, and it's very mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that on a whole slew of levels. And in some ways, I suppose some people could say, "Well, Chris, you made
Right.
Cluster Fudge, you make secular comics, so you're no better."
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little different in the sense that, like, I remain true to Christ in how I treat people and how I behave and what I think and what I do. And in the writing, it's a whole different idea where I want to present Christ in a way that the reader will find Christ, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just spell it out and say, okay, there you go. This is everything I want. I want people to kind of stumble into it and discover it just like they would a love story or
Mm-hmm.
a hero's journey.
Right.
Hey, I got a question. Are you turning your mic on and off?
No, why?
Because every now and then it kind of clips. It's weird. I'm going to have to check that out.
I am literally sitting here not doing anything but
Yeah,
listening to
no.
you.
I'm just listening. So I'm like, well, I wonder if the cable is messed up, but I don't know.
I think it's just you, honey.
I'm very sensitive.
We have nobody to tell us otherwise at this point.
We have
Um,
one viewer right now. So welcome, one viewer.
Hello, one viewer.
Yeah, we don't know
It
who you are, but we're very happy to see you.
is okay.
Yeah.
And we are, we're kind of in this ebb and flow space of life. Like we're just kind of going with it. Whatever God sends our way, or we just kind of work through it.
Well,
That's
we've
how I
certainly
feel.
learned over the years that you can't force anything because if you force something and it's not meant to be,
Hmm.
it won't work.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how hard you try to push that square into a circle, it always rejects
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Always. Unless you want to mutilate one or the other, then you can probably get away with it. You know what I mean? You smash it in with a hammer or something, but by the
Right.
time you're
Right.
done,
Right.
neither
Right.
one is going to be the right shape.
Yeah. Um. I. I'm just. I'm just. It's just been a long day, but back to. I wanted to touch base on being a Christian or a believer. Um. That and a comic book artist, how those two can actually coincide and you don't feel like you're falling away from your faith,
Well, you got to cling to your faith when you're doing something like, okay, so like Cluster Fudge,
right?
that was a dark, hard book, and I constantly had to remind myself what I was doing and why I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I was being drawn into a wicked temptation,
Mm-hmm.
but because it just, when you write a dark story, you tend
Right.
to go dark. It's just like if you're writing kids' books, you tend to talk with a little bit of a, it's so cute and it's pretty. Or,
Right. Right. Right.
if you're in love, you tend to be more romantically inspired and you'll
Mm-hmm.
use words craftily and
Mm-hmm.
find great ways to describe the beauty of the rose. Um, so yeah, what you work on will directly affect your
Right.
mind,
Right. Right. Right.
and so you definitely have to cling to Christ on that. You have to.
Mm-hmm. And
Every time,
well, the interesting thing, to be honest with you, is while you were doing the Cluster Fudge book, I do recall you saying how depressed you were getting, that you have to get this done. It's very depressing.
yep.
And I know that a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there are some components to that story you pulled from your own personal experiences. They're not
Well,
related in any way, but the emotional
in
impact
truth,
that you were trying to express.
any good story draws from the personality of the writer, from the experience
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But yeah, some of the sexual trauma I experienced growing up uh, is burned into that. It's not
Mm-hmm.
told in that, but you're right. It's just like if you're scared of heights and you've gone up on a skyscraper and looked down, that feeling, you can take that feeling once you experience it,
Mm-hmm.
describe it and figure it out, and then use it in your writing for something else. Maybe somebody has
Mm-hmm.
a phobia of water, but now you understand how that phobia works because you've been scared by it. That's the kind of
Right.
relation that you drop into stuff. The weird
Mm-hmm.
thing about sex is
Hmm.
people are so sensitive to it one way or the other
Mm-hmm.
that when you deal with it as part of a topic, it leaves you wide open for any kind of response.
This
And
is
it could
true.
vary, it could vary from extreme liking of the product to, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I hate it. And I can definitely tell you with cluster fudge, we've gotten a little of both.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said, it's, I think it's a personal kind of journey thing. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that for people that read it and could maybe relate to it, enjoyed it a little bit, and they probably didn't filter in the actual creator and what he's about. They just enjoyed the story.
Well, and
And
that's
this
kind of
is,
good though, because I don't
hmm
want and I don't want anybody to read my stuff and with the expectation of, because I'm a Christian, it's going to be a Christian book.
right,
I want them to understand. Now, don't get me wrong, someone who loves the Lord is definitely going to see some of the seeds that I plant in there. It's just they're going to see them. It's obvious. But then there are
hmm
others, it should be like an adult joke in Shrek, in my opinion. It should
hmm
go over the heads of those that it's, doesn't mean anything to, but those who understand it should be able to really understand it.
right, right.
Um,
Um,
Go on.
no, 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 no. I was just thinking that it's. I know you're working on the part two of the Great Cyclopean, but I think once that's finished, you need to finish the story of Cluster Fudge.
Well,
Don't you think?
I do plan on an October release, which means I have to start it at the latest in September.
Mm-hmm.
But best case scenario would be to start it in July or August
Right.
in preparation for October.
Mm-hmm.
The tricky thing is by doing it this way, we it makes it difficult because we want to build Cyclopean
Right.
and I'm only one guy. So like somewhere in my head, I'm like, should I hire another artist? But that would be so stupid because one of the things about Cluster Fudge is it's a
Mm-hmm.
showcase for the style of art that I truly came out of, the
Right.
crazy collages and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
hang on, let's see. Hey, Terry is in the chat.
Hi, Terry. You are completely and absolutely correct, and I am working on it. It's just a slower process than Chris because I just work differently from him, but I am working on it. I'm tied up with the business stuff right now.
I do want to say that that's actually been a topic of discussion in the last 24 hours is how difficult I am to work with.
Yeah, you
And
are.
I do apologize for that. I like to blame it on my Asperger's. I don't know if that's entirely what it is, but I'm a bear, like because of the pace I work at, I look for other people to work as faster and
Mm-hmm.
faster.
Yeah.
Um, and if the quality is not where I think it should be, I get all, indignant. And yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
poor wife has had to deal with all of that. But thank God that I've been blessed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. Jazz Crab is here.
Hey, Jazz Crab, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, hopefully.
I would
Um,
get number two.
Number
Number two.
two is definitely coming. It's just a matter of when. But
What
every
book? Oh, is he
issue,
talking about Cluster Fudge?
I think he has to. Yeah, it
Okay.
has to be because that's the only one that we've released lately. Um, every book we do, like, it's so cool because we've been doing this since 2019, and I can literally watch the progression as we grow and grow and go and go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, will I ever be Marvel DC quality? Let me just say, God, I hope not. I hope I hope I ascend to something greater. And I believe we're getting there.
Right.
Yeah, Diana, start with your outline on your story he's talking about.
Oh, right. No, no, no. I have it. Um, I have an outline. For me, it really is getting in the zone and getting the time to write. And I'm working on some poetry too. And I'm working on a couple other things. So it's just, I have to do a little bit at a time, little bit at a time. And I'm not really in any big rush
You know what you
to
really
get it
need
out
to
there.
do, and I'm not trying to tell you how to do your thing.
Hmm.
A little at a time is fine, but you need to find your rhythm so that you can make all those line up and bounce through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
Jazz. I don't see my inspiration is John Byrne. My inspiration is Jack Kirby, but I don't want to become them, and I don't want to become whatever Marvel is or DC is now. I don't really like a lot of the digital stuff that you see in comics. I prefer very much
Right.
the traditional black and white,
Hmm.
strong, heavy lines and stuff. But on the other hand, I need to learn to restrain myself on those. So let me say that. But again, it's all in what God leads me to do. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but I want to remind people that my talent is really a gift from God, and any improvement is just that's the skill kind of chopping away at the talent and refining it. We're all blessed with something that makes us talented. It's just are you willing to work hard enough to get to where you want to go?
Hmm.
There aren't very many. I was just not even going to use this reference right. There aren't very many Mary Sues out there who can just like learn the Force and suddenly take down Jedi Masters. But if you work hard, you can take that talent and take down the Kylo Rens and Darth Vaders and stuff. That was a pop culture reference in God Chat, honey.
I saw that. How'd we
Yeah.
do that? I don't know.
Well, I'm trying desperately to stay focused, and I don't have my videos from the comic show to just
It's so funny.
But see, I know my boundaries. Those don't belong in God Chat.
Well, this is true. They
Yeah.
do not. Um,
We haven't shared a single verse tonight.
I know.
Are you going to do that or should I?
Do you have one right at the moment, or
I mean, come on, right at the moment. Every moment I speak
Terry?
is
I'm
the moment.
laughing at you guys. Who inspires you? And Chris and you do not. Terry does not count. Inspires me to write. Most of my writing stems from personal experiences that I have with others. Um, so I don't really. It's not like an inspiration and the way that like Chris likes John Burns and and other artists may um, look to other bigger names. I don't really have that. Um, I think it's because I'm really new at the whole creative process. I write poetry all the time, um, but to write a story is a total different element for me, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And yes, working with an outline, I do have an outline. I have a character idea. I have a general idea of the plot and where I want to go with it. It's just putting it all together, if that makes any sense. Did I lose everybody?
Can you read that? So Psalm 91:1. One who
Yes,
dwells
I like
in the
that
shelter of the
one.
Most High
Yeah.
will lodge in the shadow of the Almighty.
Hmm.
So, like I read that and I wasn't too sure what it's talking about. It sounds really cool, but what exactly is it getting at, right? So let me show you the Tree of Life version, which, as you know, is more Hebrew than say Roman, because this one totally blew my mind in a way.
Hmm.
Let's see, I'll bring it over. Boom. And boom, and then boom, and then boom. He who dwells in the shelter of Elion will abide in the
Hmm.
shadow of Shaddai. Oh, help me, honey. Do you know how to say that? Shaddai? The only time I've heard it pronounced,
Shaddai.
yeah, maybe.
I would say Shaddai.
Okay. So I'm guessing the shelter of Elion would be like the house of God or the presence of God, and
Hmm.
the shadow of Shaddai is the shadow of God.
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool
He
verse
who,
nonetheless because it has that like really, uh, like ancient feel to it. It's like ooh.
well, the last one that you just did, I'm not fully comprehending that. Do you want to elaborate on it?
Well, I don't know that I truly can. I'm not an expert. But he who dwells in the shelter of, say, God. Let me pull up another translation that'll help it uh, transfer into English better. Okay.
Well, Elion and Shaddai both mean God, but they're
Yeah.
different.
And I'm sure there's a ton of meaning in there that I'm missing because I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another take. This one comes from the NIV, and I believe uh, that and the first one I posted are basically coming from the same manuscripts.
Right?
But whoever dwells in the shelter of Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Um, it kind of speaks to me. It speaks
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the whole birds of a feather flock together. If you're dwelling in the shelter of God, if you are in His protection, if you've got the full armor of God on, and you got the arrows ready, and you got
Mm-hmm.
the breastplate, and if you've got all that going on, then
Right.
when you're resting, you'll be in the shadow of the Almighty. He'll be the one protecting you. You'll be covered by that blessing through all your times,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of true. If you think about it in a logical sense, who's more likely, say, to be a drunkard? Someone who's hanging out, I don't know, at a church, or someone who's in a bar? There's certain things that's an extreme example. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, if you were in the shelter of God, you wouldn't
Right.
be in a place where you could, be tempted into something bad,
Mm-hmm.
because even when you're resting, you're still in God, whereas if you're out there in the world and you decide to
Right.
drop your hat in the wrong spot,
Mm-hmm.
look out, buddy, because the world will
Right.
bite you in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have
Exactly.
to balance this in a way that we don't live our lives as prudes or cut off, because we've all seen the crazy Christian who gets ignored and cut off
Mm-hmm.
by family and friends.
Right.
And to be honest, we have been the crazy Christians who are cut off.
Right.
Um,
Or made fun of.
yeah, and well, I'm always made fun of. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. What bothers me is the disrespect when you're talking God and people disrespect you.
Mm-hmm.
Bothers me because I also feel like they're disrespecting God, but I have to remind myself that they don't really know Him, or in
Right.
many cases, they're outright like atheists who refuse to know Him.
Mm-hmm. No, I get
Sorry,
it.
getting a sip of lemonade there.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend Dave's lemonade, by the way. Uh,
Wendy's Dave Lemonade.
yep,
So I
absolutely.
don't I don't know if you saw uh, Jazz Crab thought the art and cluster fudge was a positive progression. Did you see that comment that he put up?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
they
that's
put?
what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's how I was talking about. If you look at our issues, every
Yeah.
book we've done, I've progressed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are starting to see it. My goal, like that's when I was going, no, I'll never quite be Marvel or DC. But
Right.
um, for me, it's a matter of literally 8 to 12 hours a day of drawing, and more on Saturday and Sundays. Uh, it's literally dealing with aching muscles on most days in my shoulders because I often forget to draw with ergonomic efficiency. But you have to understand that, like everything I've ever done in life, I've done to a point where I wanted to master it. Um, and I've always done it the same way, and that is to immerse myself into these things. Uh, if you don't immerse yourself, well,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna not actually do it. Like it's real easy, and I see a lot of guys, especially newcomers or indie creators who aren't really too serious about it. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't focus on improving constantly, you will plateau and kind of stay where you are. And that's okay if
Right.
you're happy where you are. but I know a lot of people who want to get better and better, and they pound their head on a wall and they really don't know what they're not doing to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 out of 10 times, it's usually you can't get better by drawing one drawing a day. You can't get better by spending an hour at it a day.
Right.
You have to make it your obsession in life. You have to make it your main focus. If you want to improve on anything, you have to do it
Mm-hmm.
so much that people start calling you that guy or that girl. In other words, if you want to be a plumber, you have to be so known for plumbing. You have to be seen carrying your tools all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk to people, you just talk about pipes and they get all, whoa, this guy's into it. You want to immerse yourself into whatever it is that you want to improve in
Mm-hmm.
to that point, in my way of thinking. There may be better
Right.
ways, but that's the way I think about it, which is it's really good. Like I never got into how to remove cow manure because I
Right.
would smell from working in it all the time. I would literally never get out of the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've gone crazy studying the Bible. I've gone crazy playing guitar, and the comic art. I thank you, Siri. The comic thing. I was in comics when I was young, and
Yeah.
I was producing comics.
Right.
But I've told the story before. When I got rejected, I walked away from
Mm-hmm.
the whole industry, not understanding the rejection. And it's kind of funny. I'm not really blaming it on this, but at that time, I kind of walked away from God.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have godly people around me who might have counseled me on that. Instead, I was just like irrational and emotional, and I went into graphic arts instead of fighting for that comic book life.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's exactly what it is. And we do crowdfunding, and I got to tell you, I think that's the most exhilarating part of it is that do or die. You've got to get your funding up. You've got to get support for the book.
Yeah.
That part of it is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mean to shill the book on God Chat, but we're $149
Mm-hmm.
short of our goal with 8
Right.
days left, which
Right.
is totally doable, but it's also totally we totally could fail too.
Right.
And
We could.
that's an exciting prospect. Either way, how do you handle it if you succeed? Well, we do what we always do. We just fulfill. But if you fail, like we haven't failed yet, praise God, every time we put out a fund, we made it. But I do expect one day not to. It could happen. And it's bizarre. That's the thrill of doing something and not knowing. I do know, though, that, succeed or fail, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. 'Cause that's what we're doing. I think I lost Diana. I see her mic is muted.
No, I'm here. I'm printing out our LLC paperwork. Sorry.
Oh, that's what that noise was.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Do you hear it in the background? I was trying to be.
No, not at all.
You can't hear that?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That is so loud, baby.
All right. Sorry.
So hang on. Terry just shared something here. Let's see. The creative process is like any other martial art. Once you learn the forms, you must decide how to use them. That's a great point, Terry. And you know what? I think I experienced that with Cluster Fudge from the writing end. I didn't realize how powerful words can be. And the dialogue was, I think, more what set people off. Like, because the character kind of comes to life through the dialogue. And he is kind of just a nasty guy. He's not, your anti-hero. He's a villain. So it's like it's just learning how to control that. Because with your words, you really can change, a person's, entire day, maybe their life if you say the wrong words.
Yeah, you can. We know this.
Yeah.
But I am getting to this place in our life that I just really have to make the time to write. Hey, Lorenzo, welcome.
That's
And
not Lorenzo.
Lorenzo
Lorenzo's
just popped in. Yes, he did.
Yes,
That's Jazz Crab. I saw that too.
Well,
Hello,
you
Jazz Crab.
How are you?
Jazz.
Good. We're good. Excuse me.
Good.
I had a sneeze coming and I didn't want to sneeze, and so I stifled it.
So how are you, man?
I'm fine. I just wanted to come share a few things. Nothing drama like last time, but
We're all ears, man. What's happening?
let me see. I just wanted to share something I read.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. I see it coming. Here we go.
Right here.
Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. There we go.
Okay. We saw a man casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him because he does not follow with us. But Jesus said to him, do not forbid him, for he that is not against you is for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great passage.
I know just food for thought for your personal and larger battles.
Yeah.
Thing like, I don't know if you can see this now. I was wondering if you ever read this comic. I'll share the Amazon page.
Okay. Odds are I haven't, because I've only bought, I don't know, we've only bought about 10 books since we started buying books, but let me share that. No, I haven't.
Oh.
Because you mentioned Christian comics and how that would. This was sort of like, I mean, obviously based on the Bible stories, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little more accessible. Very cool.
Notes, yeah.
I mean, I read it like about 15 years ago. It came out.
Mm-hmm. It looks
I
really
could
cool,
recommend
actually.
it. I'll send you a link
Okay.
so you have it.
Excellent. Yeah. It's funny. Testament comes up a lot, doesn't it? Every time I see Testament, I think of the old thrash metal band.
Oh yeah, of course.
Miss Diana, do you know about Testament, the thrash metal band?
No, of course I don't. I'm not a thrash metal girl.
That's
Never have been.
a section of our lives that do not intersect.
No, not at
for those
all.
who don't
It
know,
gives me a
Diana
headache
and
watching it and listening to it.
Right.
I don't get it at all.
Yeah, Diana and I didn't come together till a little later in life. So when we compare notes, there are different things that we line up with and other things.
Yeah,
that,
I was more of a classical music buff, like going to Tanglewood, and I was more of a country bumpkin, as Chris called me. Thrash metal. I think one of the churches we went to many years ago, they had a thrash metal Christian band. And I said, okay, well, my kids were all in high school. Let's go check this out. I was like laughing. I'm like, how is this? Can I get the words to this song that you're screaming and bopping your head around? And like, I just didn't get it.
yeah, you didn't blend in well with that stuff.
No,
but,
I was laughing. I was like, I can do that. Give
although
me my guitar.
you did blend in well with the wrestling crowd. That surprised me. With that particular church, you weren't too down, but when we went to wrestling, she got along very well. People liked her.
Mm-hmm. I could understand them.
She won a free shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't at all rigged, because pro wrestling is never rigged.
Right. But that,
We've gone to see my old shit.
What's that, Terry?
I said wrestling is easy to get into.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I had taken her to one of the the promotion that I used to work with down in Orlando, and like the owner just took right to her. He was like, "Oh, this is great! I'm so happy to see you!" Yeah. And so they were giving out T-shirts, and she was drawn from a hat to win a shirt, and I just cracked up. Still got it. But that's the thing of pro wrestling. Everything in pro wrestling can be faked. It doesn't mean everything actually is, but yeah, when you see a contest won in pro wrestling, don't necessarily believe what you're seeing.
That's crazy.
Hey, you were just lucky they didn't try to give you any bumps.
All right. I don't know what that's all about. Okay.
You know, well, a bump in wrestling is like when they hit you, but they don't hurt you, but you have to drop to the ground like they did. Or maybe they bounce. It can be a lot of things if they like suplex you or jump off anything violent, I guess, is a bump.
I see this.
Lorenzo, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm okay. I guess I'm not logged in, so I can't change my avatar. I'm stuck as a Pokemon.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a
Is
Pokemon?
that- I think so.
Yes, it is.
You look like a baby Sleestack to me, but I look like a
Yeah.
baby
Yeah, I'm-
crab.
I'm
Yeah.
a cross between a baby's a hatchling and a Pokemon.
There you go.
It's Gotham Knights idea, so
Next
did a
week,
nice
I'll have
job.
Cyclopean.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, yeah. So we were
Jesus.
talking about Christians and comics and stuff.
Yeah, and like how and heavy metal and wrestling, which
Yeah.
Diana for some reason thinks are two different things. Which,
Yeah.
even though they're the exact same thing, if you think about it, they really, in a lot of ways, they are similar.
Yeah.
I mean, especially
They
like if
really
you get into the glam metal, that glam metal stuff can be, and some other types of metal can be quite theatrical,
Well,
as
I
can
would
be
say
wrestling.
glam metal, and you know what's really funny is I did the fluffed hair, the tees, you lay your long hair upside down, you spray it, you put on the spandex, the leather, the whipped
Oh
cream,
man, I gotta see a photo of
Um,
that.
eyeshadow. Yeah, I did the whole 9 yards. But we were all thinking how macho we were, and like really we were almost men in drag. Like we were all like
That's
so
what's great
cool.
about it. It was like,
Oh my gosh, Chris.
But it's
yeah,
true.
that was a weird, strange paradox because it's
Yeah.
the most manly thing and the most effeminate thing simultaneously.
It's really bizarre
I don't
for
know.
like 3 or 4 years, and then I discovered, like they were lost. I discovered Metallica, and I was taken out of
Oh
the
yeah,
trenches into the I can wear t-shirts again.
yeah. I think they maybe. I don't know. I was going to say made one too many albums, but that's not fair to them because I haven't heard the recent stuff. But
Probably more like 5.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know any album since, wasn't it what, I don't know if they called it the Black Album, but it was the one with
yeah, that was
the
that's
last
when
one I
they
remember
really
listening.
started getting played. Like, well, maybe they were played on the radio before then. I know they were on MTV with like the song "One," but it didn't seem like the local rock station played them much.
No, but once they sold out, they got a lot more play, and
Yeah, they got played a lot more.
Like I actually saw Slayer on some TV show not too long ago, and I was shocked because I was like, "That's Slayer, man!" Like Slayer never got any exposure to speak of, except for maybe on metal shows like the
MTV.
Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I guess what MTV had with Headbangers Ball. I don't know if wasn't that the show.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if they played Slayer on there or not.
Oh,
I didn't
They did.
really learn about
They
them
did.
until I was an
They did.
adult. I mean, I had heard of them in high school.
Slayer chased me out of a band. Quite
Really?
literally, Slayer and Deicide, the band that I was playing in, started covering those two bands. And even though I wasn't Christian at the time, I had denounced, and I was an atheist, blah, blah, blah. When I got into the Slayer thing, it freaked me out because they had the pentagram so pronounced and so weird, and their songs were
Right.
so like, "Argh." And Deicide was actually one of those bands that were like, "Your God is dead," and they were really disgusting. They sang a lot of disgusting stuff, and I still even then felt a stirring in my soul not to go there. Even though I wasn't connected, I wasn't declaring Christ. I was all on my own. Somewhere I knew there was a line that I didn't want to go past, and those bands represented that line for me.
What was the band that sang "Run for the Hills" about the
Iron
Native
Maiden.
people?
Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome
Remember one
song.
thing. Hey, fellas,
Wasn't it about the Native Americans?
I believe that one is, yeah. Iron Maiden though is like they're a band that kind of grew on me when they first came out. All I liked was their album covers. But recently, in the last 10 to 15 years, I kind of rediscovered the old rock, and Iron Maiden stood out like a sore thumb as being a band that I seriously neglected in my youth. I was like, these guys are awesome. What was I thinking? I totally skipped out on the Iron Maiden thing. But that's okay because I was given the opportunity to discover them now. And
Who was that leather guy from? Was it Iron Maiden or was it Judas Priest? I mean, just an awesome singer. But
that would be Judas Priest.
Yeah. I mean, of course, then later on, like I guess nobody knew it back in the day, but it turned out the guy was gay. I mean,
you know what was
nobody
funny?
nobody seemed to notice all the
Nobody cared.
gay biker leather. But
Well,
Like,
no, because you fit right
Lorenzo,
in with
you
all
have to
the glam
understand.
stuff.
You have to remember, Lorenzo. You have to remember. Back then, no one really cared.
Hmm.
Well, that is true too, because
really,
like,
because I thought
his
there was like a
identity.
big stigma, like in the '80s, against being gay.
Killed Billy Squire, and he wasn't
Yeah,
gay. Remember that song, "Rock Me Tonight"?
Yeah.
He did the video where he's like prancing around his apartment in that half T-shirt that was pink and stuff, and
Yeah,
it literally
I remember that.
tanked his career. Like literally, people were so repulsed by his I don't know
How
what,
did we get here?
because it's God chat, and he let it there.
I just was like,
Flamboyantly.
I just wanted to ask
Flamboyant
that
metal
question.
bands
So
or
you
whatever.
need a refocus button for this chat too.
No, that's okay. Guys, just keep going. I don't know.
It's-
We started with
no, it's but
thrash metal.
actually,
The next thing I know is like, you remember when he was prancing around in his pink half sheet? You're like,
All right, so
There-
hang on. Let's,
there
Yeah,
always
that's
was a
right.
kind of
Yeah.
theatrical glam aspect though to metal, which
yeah, well, let's just do a little refocus for Diana. Ready,
what do you
everybody?
need from me?
Before
we
you
go,
do
here we
that, let me say
What
one thing.
about Striper?
Who's
Let me say
Striper?
one thing.
you're a Christian, right?
You have to understand that
Yes. What?
Christian evangelicals really had a thing against metal, especially
did.
goth metal. So
Yeah.
that was the only downside about it, and because of that, most people gave Christianity a bad. They gave Christianity a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what else was true? Bands did a lot of stupid things. Like when I truly learned the truth about Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil was like a marketing tool. Like they like I so love that album. I love the riffs on it. The lyrics are crazy. But because they put that pentagram on the front, they were labeled like as, they were like in Ozzy's category in Black Sabbath. And then they came out with Theater of Pain and changed the whole illusion, But it was like, as a teenager, that came out and I was like, this is awesome. They're yelling at the devil. They're badasses. They're just so cool. And
Didn't they do like what was it called? Slade? What was that band called? It was a British
Smoking
band.
in the Boys' Room, Slade.
Yeah, they were doing some of their
That was off the
stuff.
Theater of Pain, though.
Huh?
Theater of Pain was the follow-up to
Oh,
Shout at
okay.
the Devil. I think that was the same album as Home Sweet Home, too.
And then that's Smoking in the Boys' Room. Actually, I think got radio play quite a bit.
Oh, a
of
lot of it. Yeah, they did.
But
those guys
it's
turned
interesting that they actually went back to like the 70s to British bands. So
Right. But those guys turned out not to be the devil worshippers they allowed themselves to be marketed to be. And yet, if you know anything about the band, they're really trashy guys. I mean, they've gone through, drug addictions and sex addictions and all sorts of bad stuff. And
are they all still alive?
yeah, at least I think so. Mick Mars might be dead by now, but
No, they're all alive.
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah.
Something
Mick Mars
praise God
suffered
for.
from disease or something, right? He's got like MS or something.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's sad.
He's a little older than the band too. I think he's like something, I don't know exactly. Maybe I'm guessing 10 years. Because if you look at him next to the other guys, he looks like an old man. Part of that's the disease, but the other part is he's older than they are.
Speaking of drug abuse, Keith Richards is somebody I was quite surprised. Always quite surprised to find he's still alive, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, as far as
yeah,
I know.
I'm always like surprised to hear that he is.
Well, the thing is, there are some guys, like everybody knows somebody that has an uncle that lived till they were like 110 and smoked a pack of cigarettes a day and drank a bottle of whiskey every night. And somehow, every once in a while, a human is able to do all that and somehow survive.
But then there's like Brian Jones or
Well, I don't know
Or
if this
Jimi
is
Hendrix,
still true,
yeah.
but at some point the Rolling Stones had their own medical staff that followed them around.
No
really?
doubt.
Wow,
I'm sure they
that's a kind of like Dick Cheney. So how can we tie this into God, Chad?
How come what?
How can we tie this into God, Chad?
Well, you see, Mr. Cheney is a Christian, even though he's flawed and has made mistakes. I know he's a Christian because I saw him on a Christian show once. There.
Really?
Oh, that's
It's a
That
very
reminds
poor
me, we
tie-in,
saw,
but it's a tie-in.
I think the late Charlie Daniels on the Pat Robertson show, or what are they ever 700 Club, and like Pat Robertson laughed when he was talking about this book was called Devil Went Down to Georgia, and of course Pat Robertson laughed at the name, and he's like, well, one thing I forgot to mention that song was you need God's help to defeat the devil.
Yep.
It's like that was like one of the most arrogant songs too.
Well, I would have just see. I can defend that because
Really?
let me ask you, who gave that young man the talent to defeat Satan? That would be God. See? It's the talent. And
Is
God
that
gave-
a God, Chad?
yeah. Hey, you want to hear something a little funny? You know, in the Bible, some translations talk about the parable of the talents. When
What does that mean anyway?
well, a talent, I believe, was like a piece of money back then, right?
Yeah.
But when I read it, especially when I was first a Christian, I literally took it as talents. Like I thought it was a parable about talent, like the kind of talent that you have in your heart and soul, you know? Yeah, I'll pull it up. It's in the Bible. I've seen it before. Actually, I'm looking at the new international version, which is constantly messed with, and it literally comes up parable of the bags of gold. It's about the guys. One guy gets 5 bags of gold, and another one 2, and another one 1, and what they did with it to get either a profit or bury it and get scolded for not doing anything with it. But yeah, talents. Talents in the Bible. See,
That's just so funny, Chris.
it also says thou shalt not swear, but they don't mean cussing.
I'm going to drop back out into the chat, but thanks for having me. God bless.
Jazz. Yeah, bro.
Thanks,
God
Chad.
bless.
Appreciate it.
Yes, crap.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, Rick's here too. I did. I threw StreamYard out there for Rick too. If he wants to come in, if not, that's cool. This is just a free and easy God chat. Speaking of which, our branding is a little bit off. Do you see that?
Yep, I see that.
Yeah, I got to take that off. Hang on.
Yep.
Oh, wrong one. Okay. There we go. How's that?
There you go. Perfect.
Are you typing?
No, I'm doing nothing. I'm sitting here.
Oh, all right. I thought you were typing. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
You've been going. Hey, I got to get critical of something. It's 9:00, so we do have to go in a few minutes. Anybody got anything? I do want to say that we need to pray for Elasmat. He posted the passing of his father, and
yeah, that was sad to hear.
I think he's doing okay, but hey, it's death and mourning comes, and I just want to pray for the little brother there.
Definitely.
Otherwise, I don't really know of anybody else who's struggling with much right now. Diana, you got any prayer requests or anything?
Oh, I didn't want to disturb you with your sensitive ears. I do not personally have any prayer requests, but I always pray for basically the world and the people and
yeah, I know the people you interact with while it's happening.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite prayer is? When you're driving behind somebody and you're like, please God, don't let them go off the road. Let them get home, because you watch them and they're kind of waving a little bit. And usually I used to think they were drunk, but they always seem to be texting now.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, honestly, I just think, I know in our family, there's most of our kids are going through changes. I feel like they're all on this like life sort of journey, and so I pray a lot for them. And
the kids really are having it hard. And when she says kid, she doesn't mean like She doesn't mean like a 9-year-old. We're talking about young adults that we look at as kids because, of course, Diana and I are entering the twilight of our years.
Oh, stop already. Oh, my God. Give you Twilight. You look like a Twilight.
Wasn't that one of those sparkly vampire movie?
Yeah, it was. Hey, so
Yeah,
Rick, you're
Twilight.
here, brother.
Hey, thought I'd come on quickly, say hi.
Hey, Rick.
Before
Good to
you
see you,
end.
man.
Yeah.
Love
Hey, you
it.
know what's funny? I just sent that cover to the printer. That very cover that's on your screen. I just finished getting it out, and we should have our proof soon. And then of course it's off to the press. Exciting time.
Yeah. Well, that, of course, is my thumbnail for tomorrow night when you're going to be on my show.
Yay! What time is that, by the way?
7 o'clock if you can.
Yeah, is that
Eastern.
Eastern Central? Yeah, I can pull
Eastern.
that off. And then at some point, Mr. Lorenzo. Oh no, that's Thursday night, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
8
Wednesday.
p.m.
Yet. It's
Eastern.
Monday.
Thursday, I got the Sleestakians. I call it the variety show, but it hasn't been as much variety lately.
All right, so maybe
We have a tad bit of variety here and there.
maybe we can talk
Music.
about like knitting patterns. I'll look up a really cool one.
Oh,
Oh boy.
you're fine.
It would be very variety oriented, right?
Yeah, but your last show was pretty good, Lorenzo.
Well,
All
thanks.
your shows are pretty good, bro.
I did. I enjoyed
One
it.
time, Stu came on and talked about movies that he had crowdfunded. I think that was like, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago or something?
Mhm.
Well, one thing that we had crowdfunded that it's being worked on right now is there's a Star Trek Voyager documentary that we that Stu and I backed on Indiegogo. Yeah, thanks for the word. I'd be struggling
No,
to
well,
find
for a
that
second,
word.
I thought you were going to say financed, and back just kind of popped out of my mouth. I was
Yeah,
picturing-
I guess that's what it's called. I mean,
I was picturing
it should
you
be
and
called
Stu writing
finance, but they're calling it backing. So.
No, but I was just picturing you and Stu like writing huge checks to get this documentary made.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
it's
Huh.
it feels like it sometimes, because
Yeah.
I back so many different comic books. I can't even. I'm such a slow reader, though. I can't keep up with them.
Mm.
I mainly go by like, I don't know, like. I mean, I really like Tim Lim's art work, and
well,
so
I
I
can
mean,
tell
I
you
back his stuff. I need to actually sit down and read through his comics. I've heard Mark Pellegrini. Everybody I've heard says that he's a excellent writer.
yeah, I've heard
But
that.
I don't know. I have a really hard time focusing though. I think I have like really bad ADD. Plus, I'm dyslexic. Does anyone know like any techniques for focusing that are like Christian compatible?
I don't, but you know what? My rabbi is dyslexic. I can ask him. Although,
Yeah, because it seems like my dyslexia has gotten worse over time. Like, because it's so because I have to focus really hard to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
and then for some reason it just I don't know. It seems like on certain days it's worse than others.
So, can I ask you a question, Lorenzo?
Sure.
Do you find if you are doing like chewing gum or moving or anything like that or listening to music, does it help you focus better?
That might be more of a distraction. I don't know.
Because for some people that have a difficult time focusing, when I worked in the school setting, I worked with a lot of kids with significant ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I found that by allowing my kiddos to do either chewing gum or sitting on like a little cushion or a therapy ball where they can kind of move their body while they're working,
Oh yeah.
really does help them. I don't
Well,
know,
that might work.
you know.
I'm wondering, like, as far as music, would it be it would have to be something fairly unintrusive? I mean, it wouldn't be like
Yeah,
some
the
heavy
other-
metal music, or I guess they call it metal these days.
Well, they have ASMR. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah. Oh,
before.
yeah.
that might. But I know for a lot of my kiddos, like chewing gum helped them a lot because it,
Interesting.
I don't know if that would help or not for you, or doing some vigorous activity, whether you're jumping on a trampoline or
I'm
going
going to
for a
send a message
run,
to Rabbi Peter because he's got dyslexia, and I wonder what he does too.
or
Well, that'd be interesting as well. So
to see
I
if
know
that
part of
helps.
the time he just has a friend to come on his stream and read for him.
that won't work with my comic books very easily.
Oh, but
Right.
that's
Unless I had a
great
friend
way to
over.
meet people. We could just like find people to read for you.
Well, what I liked was what I liked about some of the early comics gate streams was people would actually some of the reviewers would actually read the comics and entertaining voices. They couldn't read each and every page, but for like copyright reasons. But yeah, sometimes it would. I don't know. I mean, there were some kind of negative aspects because some of it was like about like just kind of mocking a book or whatever. But sometimes even if somebody mocked a book, it'd be like, well, this looks like a good book to me, and I'd go out and buy it, and then I'd read it myself.
Well, every week I have to sit through, and when I say have to, I mean I love to sit through my wife reading the book, and she does the voices and gets all excited and actually acts out the parts while she's reading
I do
it.
not stop.
You get into it sometimes.
Yeah, some people think I don't like comic books or something, and it's like, no, it's. I love the artwork, and I think I'd love the storylines. Maybe not to every comic book. There's some comic books that maybe it's really the art that's the most important thing. That's fine too.
There was a poll going around Twitter today asking what was more important, and they listed writer, art, and colorist or letterer. And artists seem to be winning like 68 to the rest of them, But
even if it's not displayed on the page, wouldn't writing be important, even if it's just?
Well, I don't know that I agree with the way the poll was going. I think people misunderstand because great art can really win over the eye, but great art won't, give you a readable comic. Now, if you're only there for the art, maybe that's true. But like Neil Adams did a issue of Batman, and I didn't have it. I saw Comic Tropes do a review of it, and it was so poorly written, it was ridiculous. And the only reason I say that is because we need to understand there's more to comics than just writing a quick little, bad guy comes into town, good guy beat him up, put him in jail.
Isn't that the problem with the Image? Is that they had a lot of didn't they call it Image because he had all these artists, but maybe not as many writers.
Yeah, I don't know. Writers. I could say that a lot of the Image books that I read, at least early on, could have used some more significant refining in the writing.
Yeah.
But honestly, I loved Image. What's that, Terry?
You have to understand every title that made by Image is creator owned, so it's going to be different all the way around.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Hey Lorenzo, have you ever done books on audio? I mean, I know the comic books are a challenge, but does that work for you? Does that?
The problem is that I can end up either in that case I can end up losing focus or even fall asleep if I'm tired.
If you start listening and all of a sudden you hear the story. And
so the problem is I can lose my spot in the book quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy listening to like audiobooks or podcasts. Are kind of easier because they're tend to be shorter. Like even if it was 3 hours long, I could
there's a lot. I think in podcasts there's more inflections in the voice and there's more variety going on. Where
that can
somebody
be
may say something silly or who knows what may go on, but I get that.
So there are some audiobooks that there's like a whole team of people reading them and their sound effects and it's like a radio theater.
Yep. That would be fun to do actually.
Yeah, I like the old was it Orson Welles reading the Shadow or acting out the Shadow. I mean, I don't even know if he was the first person, but he's the guy to do that, but to voice the character or narrator or whatever he did. but he did a really good job.
Yes, he did. Oh shoot. Okay. I am starting to yawn,
Mm-hmm.
which means I have to go to bed soon. Boy, that's abrupt, isn't it?
Yeah, wait a minute. Didn't he scold me one night for doing that? Going, guys,
Yeah,
I'm really
Every night,
Yeah.
almost every night except tonight.
yeah. Well, I'm starting to get tears running down my eyes, and they're not of joy or sadness. They're just yawn. You'll yawn tears when you just like.
Oh,
you
wow,
yawn so
that's-
much.
That's tired.
It's better it happens tonight and not Thursday night. Usually it's Thursday night that I have the breakdown. It's nice to have one on Monday. And that's when like I go 5 or 6 days without getting good sleep, and it starts
Right.
catching up.
We'll
Diana,
tune in 8 Eastern on Thursday to the Sleestackians.
Mhm.
absolutely. And tomorrow is it tomorrow night at 7 Eastern?
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
Is
Cross
that on
Comics.
you?
What
Yeah,
channel is that? What I mean,
Yeah.
what not channel, but what platform?
YouTube.
Oh,
It's gonna be
okay.
YouTube.
Yeah, that you also stream on Odyssey. Is that what
Yeah, but that's on Thursday nights.
Okay, the
Hey,
same
by
night.
the way, I saw you the other night, and
Yeah.
I tried to comment to you, and it wouldn't let me. I think it's because I was on the phone. I'm not sure.
Uh,
But
Huh.
yeah, so I made an account, so I'll be able to see you there and comment and stuff once I figure out why it wouldn't let me comment.
yeah.
Mhm.
That was pretty cool. They made me go through a little bit more in terms of signing up. It's a little bit more difficult, but that will just simply mean that the people who are there are more real, in the sense that fewer bots,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm slowly getting I've got like 15, I think, people following me over there. On Rumble between my 2.5 channels. I know that's weird. 2.5 channels.
Rumble? What's that?
You've never heard
That's
of
it. Rumble's sort of like YouTube. They don't. They do have live streaming, but you have to pay for it at the moment.
Oh.
Like I think about $25 a month or whatever.
So what do you do with Rumble then?
Well, I just put up videos. I haven't put up.
Okay.
I put up 1 or 2 specifically for over there. I haven't done a
Interesting.
lot.
Yeah, it's good to not place all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, because the YouTube and like Twitch, they're like almost like duopolies or something. There's not that much competition, but
I'm slowly building up thing there, and it's because more than this, but YouTube recently, as you might have known, changed the terms of service, and if they don't think you're financially viable, they can cut your channel.
yeah, I heard something about that. That is so weird. And they made it. YouTube actually made it so that hardly anybody could be financially viable because there were all these hit pieces that these legacy news outlets that nobody pays attention to anyway. Did all these hit pieces? Oh no, PewDiePie or whatever, and
Yeah.
Well,
and
really,
until they went in and they like, oh, this isn't advertiser friendly, and so they went in. They kept changing the rules and made it more and more difficult to be monetized.
yep.
I think it actually
That's
led
cool.
to more like of these drama channels and stuff because people start aiming for like super chats, and so they go and they get all sensationalistic because that's the easiest way. It
Well,
seems
and I
like
bet
things got worse after.
YouTube
Yeah,
makes
not
something out of
better.
super chats too, don't they?
Huh?
Yeah.
YouTube must pull a percentage.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Super chats, they get 33% of it.
Wow.
I think maybe that was a way of getting around like maybe if a channel wasn't as advertiser friendly, maybe they could get super chats. I don't know.
Well, frankly, I think it's just another way for them to get money out of users.
Yeah.
Don't pay for their service. They can only get so much out of advertisers who are going to be like, "Wow, your click through is only XYZ." Yet, if you can get people to literally send, every dollar they send, you're getting 33 cents of. That's a good way to jump revenue.
Yeah.
And the people doing it are so into the person that they're sending it to. I know I never thought of it that way. That's amazing.
Yeah, now they got some sort of stickers. I don't even know what the point of just sending
Oh,
a
yeah,
sticker is.
Yeah, well, but you got to pay so much to send a certain type of sticker.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So I mean, I know the point for Facebook is if they get and not Facebook, but YouTube is if they get a cut of that, which I'm sure they do.
Oh yeah.
But no, super chat. I can understand. Like, there's like some of these these like extremely popular channels. They have so many people typing things in the chat that there's no way that the host can keep up. And so maybe they send a super chat and can be read on air, but it's
Yeah.
but the stickers are just like I don't know.
There's ways around super chat too. People just PayPaling you, and they send a message with it. Maybe you've got it linked up for every time you get PayPal money.
Isn't there something called what is it called? Is it Streamlabs or something? There's some sort of
Yeah, with Streamlabs and StreamYards, you can send messages directly to you through your credit card.
StreamYard right now, and StreamYard.
Yeah, I think Streamlabs might be the alternative to Super Chat.
Well, not StreamYards, with OBS, Streamlabs.
Yep.
Streamlabs, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so that's
that I'm
I
using
think
right
an
now.
alternative to Super Chat, but I don't quite understand how it works.
Yeah, well, and with that, it just you set it up so somebody can either donate through PayPal or your a credit card directly, and again, you get all that you get all the money.
But is it a special platform that people can watch the show and
No. You just need to use the streaming software of Streamlabs.
Yeah, but how does somebody send the money?
Through their credit card. I set up an account, right?
Yeah, but do they go to the Streamlabs site? Is that the deal?
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's what it is. It goes to the
Streamlabs
site. I haven't really done it fully, I've wanted to set one up, but it means changing my PayPal thing to a business account, and I don't have a business license.
I guess we're like really dragging out the show. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm sleeping back here. Yeah. Listen, we're gonna kill the show, but we do love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you Wednesday, tomorrow night, Wednesday, Thursday. Boy, it's already a full schedule this week. But,
what's tomorrow night?
To me.
Who, Rick?
Yes.
I missed that. What time? How did I miss that?
Well,
I was the one to start it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
on Cross Comics YouTube channel.
Yes.
Right?
No, I now it's all.
So I heard Chris had a book or something. Is that like a damn dirty lie?
No. Cyclopean One. In fact, if you look at Rick's picture, hang on a second. Let me show you something here. That's the cover to Cyclopean One.
Oh wow!
And it's got 8 days left. We're $149 at least at last check from financing or from.
Did you go on Rick's show?
Rick, yes, Rick CJ. Comic.
No. Did you go on Rick Cross Comics?
No, we haven't done his show yet.
Yeah, that's tomorrow night, Loretta.
Oh, okay.
I
see. That's
right?
what.
Okay.
I see. So you're going to be on. Wow, that's good. That's like a double feature. No, not double feature. Never mind. It's like a crossover.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of exciting too. I can't wait for that. But yeah, we're going to be busy. We'll see.
We're doing a show Saturday night too at 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I think. I have to confirm with her.
Is that Indie Princess?
The Indie Princess show?
I don't think that's what she calls it, but I think she's the person behind it.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds cool. How far are you guys up as far as the campaign?
We're 149 dollars from fulfilling. So
Really,
Mhm.
that's all?
yeah,
Yeah.
so over the next, we have 8 days to get there. I'm pretty sure we will, but we'll see.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I'm hoping next Monday I'm gonna be able to at least get the digital for the $5.
Hey, you know what? No pressure, man. It's all in God's hands, and that's not just because we're in God chat. You know, if it makes it, it's a blessing. If it doesn't, we just have to get creative for the next one. Uh,
so you're not going to extend it?
Well,
no,
you can't on Kickstarter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
but
Wow.
that
Oh.
extending stuff always freaks me out, and I know that's a better way to make money.
Yeah, but then you get all you get like you're doing that all over again for another month, right? If
Right.
if you
Yeah.
extend it, and
But then
you go
again, Diana is my business manager, so she can decide how it's going to work.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe we'll use both of them.
Yeah. So
Well, I feel like with the Indiegogo, because I listed it, oh dear God, for 60 days, it freaked Chris out. I won't do that again.
yeah,
I'll do a
there's really
30-day
no
campaign. I didn't really know, and
Well, you
there's
do the
really
30 and then
no
you turn
incentive.
30.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because
Yeah.
if you listen to for 30 and you end up extending it, I think you get like a second
Promotional
boost or
bump.
whatever when you extend it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 No,
Well,
some people
I-
really. Huh? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say what I would also suggest with the Indiegogo is do the flexible goal. Yeah, if you don't meet you do the minimum goal of 500 like you did here, but then you just do a small print run for whoever ordered. At least it's out there.
Right.
I'm always suspicious of the flexible goal things because because the way Indiegogo phrases it is if it fails, you may or may not like get your money back
project, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
or anything.
no. With flexible goal, you don't. Well, I guess it's more like if the creator decides to just give the money back. But the whole flexible goal thing is about you getting the money in. Then say especially for a comic creator, you do a low print run. It's exactly what I did with my coloring book.
I see.
I did a flexible goal so I would get the money, and actually that was more for a test because when I did my first book, the Canadian Shield #1, I had some problems getting the money off Indiegogo. I raised it in American funds. So I wanted to see if I raised in Canadian funds whether I'd be all right. But I wanted something small project. So I did that in Canadian funds. I got the money, and I did a print run of like 25 or 30 books, and sent out what I needed to.
Rick, do you know who else uses Canadian funds?
George?
Well, would the Canadian Shield use Canadian funds eventually?
Yeah.
Okay. I starting off, he probably wouldn't know about like that stale currency.
Well, there would have been money back in his day, but it's not like it's not like he's gonna have any. And then probably back in his day, it probably wouldn't have been Canadian money. Probably would have been more British money.
Yeah.
Because, for those that don't know, the Canadian Shield's from the early 1800s and gets transported through time to present day.
But he's like he's a native person who's is he like from a reservation or from?
Well, they wouldn't have had. I don't think.
Okay, it was before reservations. Okay, interesting.
But he's like 8 foot tall, built like a brick house, as you've probably seen.
When's your next campaign? Do you know?
Not offhand.
Okay.
I'm gonna be having getting page 10 soon, and coloring that. But I want to get Snowdrift #1 almost done as well because I'm gonna have 2 books on that campaign. Canadian Shield 2 and Snowdrift #1. Try and draw in more people with 2 books.
Yeah,
Hey,
I definitely want to back them both.
hey
Mhm.
guys, I just fell asleep.
Oh,
Now, why you were so quiet? Holy crap, Chris!
Yeah, I'm gonna end the
Yeah.
thing and catch you guys tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we will see you 7 p.m. Correct? Is that the time?
Yes.
All
yes.
right. All right, guys. God bless you all. Thank you so
God
much
bless.
for coming. And I'm working on my book, Terry. I promise. I am doing it. Catch you guys.